Hey, business builders. Once a month in our camp, in our group, we have what we call All Camp. And in our All Camp meetings, one of the members is generally featured. Sometimes they're featured as in sharing about their life and their business and asking for advice on something they feel like they're stuck on, or it's them explaining an opportunity that's in front of them, something they're working to create, something they're working to design, or something that they have designed and they're already in the process of building and adding on to their business or their life. And the other thing we do is oftentimes the members have a resource or a system or a process that they use in their world and they share that. So in this episode, Kane D'Amico of Alliance Heating and Air Conditioning, a past Business Builder Way podcast guest and a member of our Thursday morning Business Builder group, shared about a form that he had sent to all of us called the All About You form. And the All About You form is something that they have employees fill out as part of their new hire paperwork, or they often give them a little bit of time. They have them fill out within the first few weeks. And then the leader is able to use this to have some conversations with the employee. There's a book called The Dream Manager, and The Dream Manager describes a company where there's a position created that's entirely about helping employees think bigger, think about what they'd like to create in their life, and believe that it's possible. Things that aren't necessarily exactly within their work. Things like how to buy a house. Can they buy a house? How do they save money? How do they get the kids to college? And those are financial things. Or the dream manager might be things like health and wellness, from couch to 5K kind of thing. And the dream manager in this book by Matthew Kelly helps the employee find satisfaction because the company finds out what they want, helps them get it, gets some resources, helps make them believe they can. It's like, having a life coach. So Kane's All About You form is a bit like that. And what you'll hear in this video is Kane explaining some of his philosophy about getting to know employees and how they get to know them using this form in their company, and then how they use this form to build trust and build confidence and help that person feel like they belong and feel like they're winning and getting momentum in all areas of life, not just in work. It also helps with things like birthdays, so on and so forth. So that's what we've got here for you today. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you learn. And the resource to All About You form is available. If you listen to this and you want a copy of it, get a hold of me, Wayne Herring, at businessbuildercamp.com. So it's wayne.herring at businessbuildercamp.com, or connect with Kane on LinkedIn and Facebook, and I'm sure he'll get it for you. Thanks. Welcome to the Business Builder Way podcast, where we help business builders grow leadership skills and wisdom and stay grounded through hero stories. So let's get after it.
Kane shared this with his group, which was great. I don't know what prompted you to do that, but you were working on it and thought, wow, I'd like to share this with my group, my tribe, the people that are helping me grow. And when it came, I was like, dang, that's good. And it would be good for him to share it with everybody else and talk about how it works and what you're up to with that. So Kane, I yield the headphones microphone to you.
So if you can just pop it up on the screen so we can look at it while I go off on a tangent. But what made me send it to the varsity team that day, Wayne, was we were talking to Andy and we started talking about his connection with his people. I think in our podcast, you asked me for some piece of advice at the end of it, right?
True.
I took a moment to say, get to know your people. Get to know your people. And I stole this, okay? I didn't invent this. I had the idea, but I stole this document from another contractor I know. In fact, Renee Lucas, Joe Ellen, who we were just talking about from LCS. She showed this to a group that I was in once, and I said, I got to steal that from you. So I did. And here's what it comes down to. It comes down to people. And in our company, there's a bunch of us. There's a lot of people here, and there's a lot of us that have worked together for a very long time. And this morning in our group, Matt Culp talked about his people. He talked about how we spend so much time with the people that we work with, and how we spend even more waking hours with the people that we work with than with our families. There's a lot of truth to that if you start to clock your time, especially those of us that get up, go to a building, work there for 8 to 10 hours a day, and then go back home. And he talked about how we have the ability to inspire people, how we play a part in their lives, and such a part that we don't even know about. Part of my mission here at Alliance and in my life is to build this company. The company is its people. The company is not like heating and air conditioning. That's what we do. The people is a lot more about how we do it and how we do it better than we think. And in my role as the owner and the leader, I see my biggest responsibility here at Alliance to our people. I don't do heating and air conditioning, and I haven't done it for a very long time. I do the people, I do the team. And that's really my passion. And that's been part of my mission to grow myself as a leader, is so that I could be better for them. I often speak about my role as husband, my role as father, and how I ended up in this group of people was because Wayne's coaching is more of the whole person. It's not just coaching me to know my numbers better or to sell better. That's just part of what we're here to coach. So part of my mission in building the people that work here at Alliance is getting to know them better on a deeper level, because a basic human need that we all have is connection. As much as any of us like to say that we're introverts or we're this or we're that, that's just the part of our personality. But we all crave connection. We come to work, we're social beings here at Alliance. We talk to each other. We talk to each other about work, about what we're working on, our tasks, our jobs, but we also talk to each other about who we are as people. We talk to each other about our families, our weekends, our time off, our hobbies. And in order for me to help Joellen get what she wants out of her career and also get all the things that she wants in her life, I need to know more about her. I need to understand what makes her tick. I need to understand what interests her and what would attract her to a relationship or more of a connection with me. In order for me to build a deeper bond with Joellen or anybody that works here, I just have to know more about them. And conversationally, you can get a lot out of people, but it's transactional here at work sometimes. Sometimes a lot of our conversations are just in passing. We don't get to connect on a deeper level. But if we can get somebody to sit down and be intentional for 5 or 10 minutes and just put some things about them that they wouldn't think to talk about, I wouldn't think to ask, or any of us around here wouldn't think to ask, we can get to know them a little bit more than we already do. One thing that we do here at Alliance is we give birthday cards out every month. We have these custom cards made. They're printed, it says Alliance family, happy birthday, the whole thing. I go out and pick up Dunkin' Donuts cards. I throw them in a card and we pass them out to people on their birthdays. And it's nice. We've been doing it for a long time. Not everybody here likes Dunkin' Donuts. Joellen gets a Dunkin' Donuts card and she like gives it away because she drinks Starbucks. And I know that. So now I make a special trip and I get her a Starbucks card. But there's a spot on here that talks about your coffee. There's a spot on here on this sheet that says if you found a gift card for the following amount, $5, $25, $100, where would you want it? And I'm starting to realize that, okay, Joellen likes Starbucks. Jose would rather have $25 to Home Depot to go buy tools because he works with his hands. You know, the coffee doesn't mean that much to him, right? So Jose put down for $5, I would get coffee, but for $25, I'd rather have a Home Depot card. So if I'm going to give him a $25 birthday card, why wouldn't I make it more valuable to Jose, more meaningful to Jose by giving him a $25 Home Depot? Something that's really awesome that I learned on this is there's a spot on there that says, what are you reading? The books that people are reading, books that people that work with me every day that they're reading. Like a 20-year-old kid is reading the email. I didn't read that till I was in my 40s. And one of his top 3 goals was to own his own heating and air conditioning company. Now, there's a part of me that made me shit my pants. Like I got this great guy who's reading the E-Myth and wants to own his own heating and air conditioning company. So he's not going to work here for very long. And that's probably okay. If I can help him achieve that goal and be a better HVAC business leader that he would have been otherwise, then that's okay with me. Because for those of you that have known me and ever heard me get on a tangent, something you'll know about me is that I believe that what's best for the hive is what's best for the bee. So if I can turn this guy, if he's really going to go own his own heating and air conditioning business, there's no way that I could deter him. If that's like his primary goal is to stay here, learn everything that I can learn about the business and about the trade, but I really want to do it for myself. That's really going on inside of me. Then I can either ignore him, I could throw him out of here, I could not teach him all that I can teach him, or I can build him up so that when he goes and does it for himself, he's doing it at a level that makes all contractors look in the eyes of the consumer. I can help him perform at a level that our company performs at. so that the consumer continues to feel differently about contractors because he's putting out quality work. He's doing it the right way versus doing it the wrong way. Who inspires you and why? One of our guys says Marcus Aurelius inspires him. And this, like the things that you're learning about people that you just would never learn. And it's allowing me even more things that I can talk to them about when I have a few minutes to engage them. People here, when they're engaged, when they feel like somebody's noticing them, somebody cares about them, that might be all that they need. When I came to this company when I was 18, 19, 20 years old, that's all I needed, was to feel like I belonged somewhere, because I was on my own. I was living with another guy my age. We were raising each other at that point in our lives. For as adult as we thought we were at 18, 19, and 20, we were kids, just screwing up on a regular basis. But when I came here, I had guys that were looking out for me, guys that I still get the opportunity to work with today, people that cared about what I was up to outside of work. They engaged me when I was here, and they gave me a place where I belonged. They were interested in me. And I'm interested in my teams. I'm interested in what makes them tick. I'm interested in what they want to do, not just for our company, but what do they want to do for their lives? What do they expect from their careers? People that have been with us for 5 years, 8 years, 18 years, they're invested in this company. They see it as more than just a job. And I have very extraordinary goals for myself at the end of my road and for this company. And I know and believe at my core that the only way to get there is to help as many people as I can help along the way, because the connection is what that's about. It's about making the connection and helping each other. And in a time where employee retention is just as important as the recruiting that we're doing, making connections builds more retention than anything else that we could be doing, more than our benefits, more than our pay. It's a connection to the people that we're working with. It's the idea that we know each other on a deeper level so that we understand each other and that we're looking out for each other. That I'm looking out for the people on the left and the right of me, and that they're looking out for the people on the left and the right of them.
Kane, have you read the book, The Dream Manager? Have we talked about it? It's really in alignment with this, and you'd probably like it. And you're already doing it, and we'll just add to it, right?
Okay.
What you're talking about. Anybody, I have questions or things on my mind, but do any of you have either comments, how it applies to you, or insights or questions to deepen it with Kane?
I got one.
You got, go ahead.
Joellen mentioned, in our meeting yesterday about the Sunshine Club and stuff like that. Are you guys using these sheets to, as stuff comes up, like you can reference that, like, oh yeah, maybe we can pick one of the things off of there, maybe not the bucket list, but you guys are using those sheets as backup for small little stuff?
Yeah, that's the idea, RJ, about really hammering home with the team that we want these sheets and what we're going to use them for. We're not going to use them for anything diabolical, and we're not going to be putting pictures of them on social media. It's just so that when things come up and it's time to notice somebody or it's time to celebrate something, like celebrate in a way that would speak to them versus a way that speaks to me. That whole go get Dunkin' Donuts cards kind of thing. Like it's got me thinking about how many people get the Dunkin' Donuts cards and then have to figure out what to do with it because they don't want it. So as part of that whole Sunshine Club idea, yes, if something comes up in Joellen's life and we want to do something special for Joellen because we heard about something, like here's a reference that can give us some ideas of something that we can do for her.
That's awesome. I think that's fantastic. I may borrow that idea as well.
All yours, man.
So the book Dream Manager would go with this. And I
Mhm.
think I just made a note to myself to try to connect with the author of Dream Manager for next year, because it would be fun to read that book and then bring that in, and it really fits with how you all operate. I have it in other ways. I found it last night when I was looking for Canes and where I filed it. This came from another company, actually came from Jack Jospis's company, maybe somebody back in the origin of all this, because there is the bucket list. There's what are you addicted to? I would never spend my time doing, spend my weekends kind of thing. What is your stupid human trick? That was fun. And what they did was they created a booklet, an online booklet with PDFs of everybody who's in the company, where you could go through one of those like flip pages of the PDF. So not only did the company know it, but other people were getting it. Stupid human trick. I was a gymnast. I can still put my legs behind my head to the split. So there you go.
It is fun. It really was, as we started to get a pile of these together, to just take the time and read through them. It was fun. It was cool. I already know so much more about the people that are here. And just in the reading, it inspires other ideas like, oh my gosh, what could I do with this information, right? What more can we build into our culture and into our company and into our interaction and how we behave together as a team, but just by having this information.
It would be fun if we could make a version of this for our good clients. And just thinking, like, when I first meet a partner, as I'm trying to connect with them, sometimes these things come up. And then once you learn them, you put them in notes, you put them in CRM, you put that they have a dog. One of my biggest clients is a racing fanatic. So whenever I see something racing, I send it to them. And that just came through time because there's a different dynamic between clients and colleagues. But of course, I'm thinking about this for my staff, and I think it's really fun because I connect this way. This is very natural for me, but I can think of one or two in my office that do not connect this way. Like you mentioned introverts at some point. So I'm thinking like, have you experienced like maybe pushback, but has there been any moments that maybe it didn't go so happy and somebody didn't want to fill it out? And then I'm trying to think, how can I make this with customers? Like I asked every customer, what's your favorite way to communicate? Some are like, text me, email me. I always ask, and I put that in Salesforce. And then I just wonder if there's something fun that I can make for a customer. Just thinking with you guys.
Yeah, I think that's definitely relative to some of our businesses. Like, tell me a little bit more about you. When I first connected and officially started doing business with Wayne, there was something to that effect, wasn't there, Wayne? There was something that we had to fill in some information about us. Like, you want to know who my family was, you wanted to know some stuff. And the first camp that I came to, there was also a questionnaire that came out, like, what do you like to drink? There's some of that stuff. I definitely think that's an interesting thing to play around with, Melissa. I think when you're bringing on a new client, like, tell me a little bit more about you. What's happened here is like some people fill out the whole thing, right? Nothing's missed. And then there are other people that filled out some stuff they didn't want to put down, or some stuff's not part of them. Some people don't have a bucket list and some people don't have goals. And it's because nobody's ever tasked them with being specific on them, right? So maybe if I were to hand this out again in 6 months or revisit it during a review time with some of those people that didn't put anything on there and say, hey, what's up with that? How can I help you make sense of that? I mean, for me, bucket list and goals, like I would need a notebook for each one because I can start spitting out goals and bucket list stuff like crazy. And in fact, one of my bucket list items is to break a world record. And I'm trying to figure out who's the group that I'm going to do that with. Am I going to do it with Alliance, or am I going to go to Wayne and say, dude, we got to go to the camp and we got to break a world record in 2025?
Sign me up, buddy. I'm in.
Right? Like, let's figure out what it is and let's get in the Guinness Book of World Records. And so I think having a conversation like that with somebody that doesn't have bucket list or goals, like that could, just saying something silly like that could inspire them to say, well, wait a second. So that's what those lists are for? Yeah, like just put some outrageous shit on there and maybe it will make sense to you at some point. Again, it's an intentional way to make connections that you might not make like a deeper connection on a deeper level, because we have surface connections with everybody that we're connecting with. Everybody that we're meeting, and Wayne and my connection is deeper than Wesley and mine. Okay. And that's just a time thing, right? Wes, like eventually we're going to spend more time, have more conversations, because I want to make sure that I'm going deep with the people that I'm in this community with. That's part of my intention for being a member of this community. So it starts at the surface level, like Wayne and I did for a long time. And then the more time I spend with Wayne, right? Like we go deep, like Wayne and I are into childhood shit. Like there's parent conversations, there's deep stuff. That's between us. And I have that opportunity with Joe Ellen as well. And I have that connection with some of the people that I work here. I don't want to pry and I don't want to dig deep. This gives me an indication of how deep somebody might want to go or not go. I haven't had any pushback to the point where somebody would say, I'm not filling that out. There's people that just haven't given it back, and that's okay. I'm not going to push, but I will ping those people on a regular basis. I might go back to them in a couple months and say, hey, what's up with that? I don't have you on my list. And often the ones that I've already touched on that, they've said, yeah, I know. I'm going to get to it.
Sometimes it takes a couple months to get it back from them, but as long as you keep on them and, keep pinging them, like you said, it's not like anybody's ever said no.
Have you ever done it with somebody, Joellen? Have you sat down with them and like done it like a coaching session almost?
No, I haven't, but I like Kane's idea of sitting down with them and going through their goals, because yeah, that's important to have in life, even if they're not work goals, they could be personal goals. So yeah, I like that idea.
Melissa, one thing, I pulled this up in the background. I don't know if I've showed this to all of you, but here's my sort of creepy Trello board. Like I have pictures of all of you. I go through these things. I don't have them all sorted because Joe and Rhonda and I were sorting them the other day, but there's there's a good
Nice.
one. Kane and
Me and
Big
Big
Al.
Al.
There's Melissa. Look at
Here
that.
she
I
is.
saw Joellen too. So Melissa, like that's my way of getting present to these clients because I'm visual and it just makes me think about them and maybe that's helpful. The other thing, I haven't operationalized this clearly because yes, I collected this info from some of you and Catherine was using it to understand gifts. And when Catherine went back to work, my fault, not hers, but I haven't operationalized this and put it into action and play. But I do have vision, leadership, motivation, Kane. And I know as of the writing of when he filled this out, red, your favorite color is red. So that's a Google form that I have, and I believe it's important to get back to that.
I'm curious with kind of this information, everything, do you have like people that you specifically share it with to, I don't know, I think about like you got probably crews with a team lead or different scenarios like that, where it's like, okay, hey, your guy's birthday is on this day and being like aware of those different things. How do you manage that?
Don't manage it that way, Wes, but you know what? That's certainly something that it can and should grow into, right? So what we do with it now is I've got copies of it in a file that Holly, who is the quarterback for our Sunshine Club, that she's got access to. So as these things come up, she's got something to immediately go and reference. If I say, something happened in Joellen's life, Joellen and her husband just bought a new house. Like, let's recognize that. And instead of maybe something standard that we would do, the first thing she'll do is she'll go grab Joellen's page and she'll go, "Oh my God, they just bought a new house. Like, we want to do something for them. What would it be? What could it be?" And there's enough information on at least this page to give some inspiration, right? $100 gift card, she's got Target. So there you go. There's some direction if we're going to do something that simple. I do like the idea of sharing it with team leads and other people that are very closely involved with people in the company to give them some awareness of it too. Yeah. Definitely like that.
Because with them working with them regularly and everything, you can kind of be like, hey, this is the core info if you have anything to add, because you're working with them. I think about how, I don't know, on the creepy level of like gifts, while some people are more like, I need that quality time, or the love languages thing. They like certain things more than others. And that's more learned when you spend time with them a little bit and figuring out that. I mean, it gets on a creepy level maybe, but it's more effective and more relational that way too. Yeah, that's really cool.
The love languages test is free online. You could ask people to do that. Like that might be down the road kind of thing with entry level employees, but totally could ask people.
Yeah. Well, speaking of entry level employees, this is in the new hire package. That's a form that they get now when they get all their paperwork, all their tax forms, everything. This is in the folder. So those will start to come back to us from day one.
Any other questions or how you do this in your company?
Every 2 weeks, we have a Thursday Connects. It started during COVID, and we all get on and we share a high, a low, a personal, positive, and a challenge, and a goal. So then we go around and everybody goes. It takes about 45 minutes. And it's kind of like everybody's favorite part. We stopped it for a while, doesn't matter why. And when one girl left, she said she missed it so much because she felt super disconnected. Because we're all kind of busy, have our heads down working, and we don't always have these conversations. And she said that every Thursday, that was like the best hour of her week, and made her feel connected in the hallway, made her feel like all the things. So now I'm like, I do it all the time. Even if when I'm at live camp with you guys, like on a Thursday, if it happens, I kind of like dip out for a second and just or send a video. And so I've noticed that. And the reason I ask, because like you have, I'm 9, 10 people, and virtual now I have 4. So we really do need to connect constantly. And like you said, and when you started, connecting with people is like so important, because you don't know who's not connecting anywhere else, right? Like we assume if you are connecting at home and you are connecting with friends, that other people must. But some people, work is their only form of connectivity. They could go home to an empty house, or they can go home to quiet family. I don't know. So I think this is so important. And it's like, it's really my language, but I can't stop thinking about how with COVID and Zooming and all that, like I'm losing that connection. I'm not losing it, but it's harder to get with customers. So I keep going back to that now, but I'm like, this would be great. Like before, you'd sit down with customers all the time. That was normal. But now they're like, oh, just Zoom me. And that's great. And you could still get personal there. Clearly, we're doing that here. But I keep thinking about how fun this could be to do with a new customer. But I really appreciate this. I like the idea of it being online, and then other people can read other people's. I think that's really cool, because it's not just for me, but it's for each other to know each other.
Hey, so what happened there was I was in Florida, so right now I'm back in the building again. First part of the video, I was here in the building. The call with Kane, I was in Florida meeting with my mastermind group, and now I'm back in the building because we're editing this episode to be able to share it. But here's what happened. Melissa at the end there said that she thought this would be great to work with her clients. And as soon as she finished that, what happened was I dropped out of group discussion facilitator mode, and I wanted to do a little bit of coaching. I wanted to work specifically on something I knew was coming up with Melissa and building her business. And so we cut to that. It wasn't something I wanted to go share with the world. It was intimate. It was personal. And that's what we do at Business Builder Camp. We go from masterminding and group to, at times, me doing coaching, because I'm more connected with everybody's story. That's my job. Everybody else's job is to go run their business, build their life, and part of the time to be in the group and be present and helpful and show up and share their experience and their wins and the good stuff, the bad stuff, everything they've learned over the years. But I carry everybody's story. I carry everybody's vision, mission. And so that's what we did. Thanks for listening, and go get them. Thank you for tuning into the Business Builder Way podcast. If this episode spoke to you, click that subscribe button and share it with a friend. That's how this message gets out into the world. If it is helpful for us to have a short conversation, I'd love to do that. Send me an email at wayne@businessbuildercamp.com.